So we're going to have some running problems with the Mk2 Golf 16 valve. We're going to have let's just whip a plug out and just have a quick check of the colour of them, just to check, because I think it's running a bit rich. Okay. Yeah, so it's not too bad, but there is some soot around the edge, and it has been a bit sluggish on acceleration. It smells a bit of fuel, so I think it's running a bit rich, so we're going to do a fuel pressure test and check the warm-up regulator. So we're going to have a quick look at the running of the 16 valve here. It starts and runs okay, but it's a bit sluggish on acceleration, and we're thinking it may be warm-up regulator related. So what we're going to do is put a test on it today. Got a fuel pressure gauge to go in line here. And we're going to test the warm-up regulator, which is just down here. So we've picked up a fuel test gauge here for the KJet. It's high pressure fueling, so it goes up to 7 bar, 100 psi. And you've got the KJet connections on here. So that's going to go in line on the metering head, and this is going to disconnect and connect onto the end here, and then we're going to do some tests. Okay, so first thing, we're going to crack open this fuel line, which supplies the warm-up regulator. There might be a bit of fuel in the system, a bit of pressure, so we're going to get a rag over that just to release any pressure and catch any spilt fuel. Okay, so there's not too much fuel out of that. We're going to get this and put this in line in place of where the other connector was here. Okay, so then the other end connects onto the line which we just removed from the metering head. So just nip that up so that's tight. So what you've got is something like this. Just runs in line of the supply fuel line to the existing fuel line to the metering head. And you've got your stop tap there to measure system pressure and turn it off so you can check the control pressure. Okay, so the gauge is now fitted in place. We're just going to start the car. Just prime the fuel pumps first, just check for any leaks, and then we'll run the test. So now I've turned the engine off and I'm going to leave the gauge connected for about 20 minutes, and we'll need to just check that this doesn't drop below 2 bar, just to check that the fuel accumulator is working as it should be. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes now and you can see the gauge has held pressure nicely, still just below 3 bar, so the fuel accumulator is working nicely. So we're going to do a quick test of the electrical connector on the warm up regulator. So I've unplugged the connector, disconnected the HT lead from the coil, and I'm going to put a voltmeter across these two terminals, crank the engine and check the voltage. So the voltage we're looking for across the two terminals when cranking the engine should be about 11.5 volts or just a bit more. So we're just going to check that. So I've got some test leads into the connector. I'm going to set this to DC 20 volts. Next check is to measure across the terminals of the warm-up regulator and it should be from cold, I believe, between 20 and 26 ohms. Let's have a quick check. It's about 23.8, 23.9, so that's within range. So looking at the tests earlier, the control pressure looks a little bit high, so we're going to have a quick look at the warm-up regulator here. Because on the supply line there's a small gauze which filters the fuel, and that can sometimes get a little bit blocked up and cause a bit of extra back pressure in the line here, which may be what we're seeing. So I'm going to remove the fuel line from the supply side of the warm-up regulator. Small amount of fuel, and just taking care to keep the washers, being careful they don't fall. So I've removed the fuel line, but it's quite hard to see in there, so I think I'm going to remove the warm-up regulator completely and just have a check inside there. Remove the vacuum hose first. I'm just going to put the bolt back in, the fuel inlet, just to stop any dirt getting back in there when I remove it. So it's just held on by two Allen bolts. There it is. So as you can see, there's a small metal gauze just on the inlet of the warm-up regulator, and it does look a little bit dirty. I don't know if you can see it in this light. But I think we'll try and give that a bit of a clean out first. So I'm going to have a look at doing the fuel pressure by adjusting the warm-up regulator, because the fuel pressure is a little bit high. So we need to drill out this brass section here with a 6mm drill bit, and underneath that is a Allen key bolt which we can adjust the pressure from within there. So we're going to do that first. So I've got the warm-up regulator off the car. We're now going to drill the hole into the brass section here. So I'm going to get it in a clamp first.